Yo, welcome back to the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, conversations on lifestyle, passions, and hustles. My name's Chris, I am your host, and I'm super excited to be back here having the conversation with you. Episode 124 today, and I stumbled across something while browsing the internet. So there is this website called Medium, and essentially, originally it was for people to just blog and tell stories and to share their own thoughts and things like that. So it's really just a blogging platform, and I've been signed up to that for years, ever since I started doing my daily blogging, which was back between 2016 and 2018, which I spoke about last week. And there was an article here, or a piece or a blog that someone has written that actually really stuck out to me, and I thought it might be quite interesting to actually go through it in this episode. And I haven't actually read it all. I started to, and I was like, this is really good, but I figured, how about, it's not a reaction, but actually go through and, really get the gist of what it's saying live and get a reaction to it, right? And essentially this article by Harsh Darje, I could be saying his name wrong. I do apologize, mate, if you ever do listen to this. But it's called 10 Powerful Equations That Will Rewire Your Mindset. Equations on ego, confidence, happiness, failure, and outlier. So there's a whole bunch of things here which I think is super relevant to the stuff we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, and I wanted to go through it for myself, So I figured, well, why not? Let's go through it together, and I'm going to put it up on screen as I go through it as well, so you can get the experience at the same time. But if you want to go to the article, I have put it down in the show notes as well, and I'm just going to kind of react to it, think about it, and share my thoughts. But I think it's going to be a bit of a different style of an episode, but I think it's going to be very, very relevant and actually really insightful for both of us. So let's get into it. Now, as I've been saying over the last couple of weeks, I do apologize if there's a choir of crickets. At the time of recording this, they do come out loud, and there's no shame. There's no shame. They go full shebang when it comes to making some noise. So the first one that he's put here is the first equation. Number one, the greater your knowledge, the smaller your ego. The greater your knowledge. It's so true, actually, because as we have more knowledge and understanding and experience, there's less of us to compete against. Now, what I mean by that is, a good example would be from my business. At the moment, there's a level of ego that I have because I think I've got it figured out. But I'm actually just trying to prove it to myself. Like, I'm trying to validate that what I'm doing is working. I'm being truthful, right? So until I've done enough reps, I've been doing it for 2.5 years, until I get to a point where it's so smooth that I'm not really thinking about it and someone else is running my business for me, I don't think I will have that, I don't think that ego will be gone until then, because I will have so much knowledge that I'm not having to try and compete against myself in proving that I'm actually doing a good job. I will know that I've done a good job, and my ego, I think, will be eradicated then. I don't know, this could be completely me just saying, oh, well, you'll have a different ego, but that may be the point. But I do agree with this. The greater your knowledge, the smaller your ego. As we can be. Think about it. If someone asks you a question because you really understand it, you can answer it in confidence. You can answer it humbly, with humility, knowing, because you know about it. So you're not trying to prove anything. You're not trying to articulate it in a way that makes it sound savvy. You're literally just telling people exactly what they need to know, and there's no fluff about it. And I think that's because we don't have any ego with it to say, oh yeah, well, I did this and I'm really good at it, so therefore I think this is the way that you should be doing it. No, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, this is what I did. So, you're just sharing with no other thought other than like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. This is how you do it too. So I think this is very valid. Number two is self-love builds belief. Competence builds evidence. Together they fuel unwavering confidence. So confidence equals self-love plus competence. Confidence equals self-love builds belief. Yeah, so we were talking about self-love just recently, and when we believe in ourselves and when we love ourselves, we're able to do so many more things, because we don't have this obstacle of ourselves to get over. We don't have a mountain to climb necessarily. So when we love ourselves, that competency that it creates enables us to build confidence. So because self-love builds belief that we believe in ourselves, that gives us confidence, then we have the competence to go out and do something, to put in the reps, to show up and do the work. Therefore, we have evidence to show that we know what we're doing. Therefore, together, we're able to have a track record to show that we are very capable and we're confident in that capability. I like it. That's my thoughts on this. And of course, along the way, if you've got thoughts about any of this, chuck them down in the comments below if you're here watching on the YouTube, or send me a message of what you thought. Number 3, authenticity is the ability to express and embrace your emotions without the fear of judgment, rejection, criticism, or failure. So authenticity equals self-expression plus vulnerability over fear. Yeah, okay, so when we are authentic, like when we share, I know I keep referring to over the last few weeks, but over the last few weeks I've shared some pretty open stuff. I've been pretty vulnerable with what I've been sharing. And I think when we are vulnerable and authentically open about something, it means that yes, we're expressing, embracing our emotions without worrying about what people are going to think. So a lot of the time, I did the whole episode on this, talking about how we project what other people are thinking that they're thinking about us, but really we're just thinking that they're thinking about us when they're not thinking about us at all. They don't have any care about us. The question that I left you all with was, if you were to die today, the people that you compare yourself to, will they even know? Does it even impact them? Probably not. So I think when we start to be authentic, it means that we can start to believe in ourselves enough to know that, well, I don't care what other people are thinking, because it's my world, it's my ecosystem, it's my problem. I'm just sharing and being open about it, because it's like the whole scenario, like when you're in school, that you're too scared to put your hand up and ask a question, but there's probably another 10 kids in the classroom that have the same question. So I think this makes sense, but I think it also means it takes a bit to get through. To get to this, I think we have to do number 2, which is self-love. And we need to build that belief and competence in ourselves. Number 4, happiness 101 is health plus wealth plus good relationships. Happiness equals health plus wealth plus good relationships. Health, I totally agree. Wealth, I don't think it's about money, because when it comes to wealth, I think it's about being able to just live without worry, right? And you don't have to have ridiculous amounts of money to be able to do that. I think it's really about the lifestyle and how you live and having a wealthy lifestyle, because, just because you have a really good car doesn't actually mean you're wealthy, right? It just means you have a really good car. I think the way maybe I'm diluting what I'm trying to say here. But to me, that's what my understanding of wealth is being able to do something without, stress, worry, doubt, when it comes to making a financial decision. Obviously, good relationships, I think that's what creates happiness. The most of all this is because health is more personal, it's inward, right? It's how our body functions and operates on a day-to-day basis. Right? So if you're not healthy, it's very hard to be able to do. And then wealth enables us to be able to do additional things, like with leverage, or to go places, or to see things. But good relationships, that's what brings the love and life together, because we want to be able to express our health or share our health, being able to do things with people. And if you've got money or the ability to go places, but you're going alone, I think you start to lose what it is you're chasing. But when you're doing it with someone else, it makes it more enjoyable. So, this is just one example, but yeah, I agree with this. How would you rank happiness 101? What is that to you? What do you think it is? Number 5, discovering yourself is explore plus reflect over don't expect. So self-discovery equals exploration plus reflection over expectations. Look, this is a good one. And I was chatting to I think it was Drew from Look Mum I'm Hustling podcast. He doesn't like to set goals. He likes to set systems and processes. So that way he gets to where he wants to be. This is this is of a similar nature because, expectations is usually what we expect when we have a goal. Like, so the goal is I want to do this. Therefore, the expectation is I'm going to do that. But if you remove the goal and the expectations and we just say, I want to explore on seeing what it's going to take to make $100,000. And then you reflect as you go through that, right? The first month, if you're going to do it in 12 months, the first month you can explore through what you've done, you reflect on it, you see what you've got, and then you can start to think, okay, I need to change something. So you can increase the ability to grow. And that is self-discovery. This is actually really, really good. I think this is an important one, but it's so hard for me personally. I'm speaking for me personally, yeah, but I think it is probably a society norm or generalization that to just go self-discover, like explore and reflect, I think that's quite hard. Like, I think because for me, I like to have something rooted towards this is what I'm going for. This is what I'm going for. But I guess if you change the mindset and say, well, yeah, I'm still going for it, but I'm exploring and reflecting the way there. I'm not setting the goal as much. It's kind of like I'm removing the expectation, which is probably the pressure. Yeah. Yeah, no, interesting. I like all these perspectives and that's why I wanted to go through it with you guys, because it's like having a conversation and you're able to get it fresh off the cuff as I'm reading it and experiencing it, and I'm not, scripting anything. It's literally off the cuff and how I'm processing it. And I think, there's going to be so many different ways people can, take this and, how it will be for their perspective or your perspective. But I think it's good. Number 6 is failure is simply a new opportunity with more experience. So failure equals feedback plus new opportunity. Yeah, I mean, look, I think we only fail when we stop. If you have a setback, if you have a mistake, if you have something that pulls you down and you feel like it's a failure, well, that's an opportunity to seek feedback to then go do something more, right? And it's a little process that I follow, and I've spoken about it before, is rose, thorn, bud, right? What went well, what didn't go well, so what's the new opportunity now, right? What could have gone well is like, yeah, I had the right intention. What didn't go well is like how I executed. Therefore, I need to continue with the intention, but I need to execute in a different way or do it better, right? And that's how we continue to grow. Makes complete sense. Number 7 is become an outlier by obsessing over your craft and putting in the work. Outlier equals obsession plus 10,000 reps. Now, I recently finished the book Outlier or Outliers, and it was a really good book, right? And in there, it talks about a whole bunch of different things, and we're not going to go into that today. But as an outlier, we can create ourselves as an outlier by loving the process, obsessing about the process, being hooked by the process, or being passionate about the process, or whatever it is that we want to do, and then putting in the reps with that passion. Because like if you want to be a drummer, I'm a drummer, haven't drummed for a very long time, so maybe I'm not a drummer, but for me to get to where I used to play at my church, it came a level of I had to put a certain amount of reps in place to be out, and I had to have a level of passion to get me to that confidence level or the ability to be able to do that without worry, and then to be able to play with a band and follow the lead guitarist, follow the the song leader, and be able to pick up what's going on. And that only came through doing more reps. Plus, I was passionate about it. If you're not passionate about it, then you're not necessarily going to be in the right groove to be able to do it. When I don't mean groove as in like rudiment, I mean like groove as in like the right attitude. But if you've done 10,000 reps, I think you will actually be able to get in there, get the job done. But by putting them together, it's what maximizes you or sets you apart from others, because it takes you to a whole new tier, a whole new level. This makes complete sense. I love it. Number 8 is beat stress, reduce overthinking, and increase self-care. This is like talking to me. Stress equals overthinking is greater than self-care. Yeah. So to beat it is we need to reduce overthinking and increase self-care. Now, the reason why I laugh about this is because I have been stressing this week over some things. Sorry, I wouldn't be saying I'm stressing. I'm a big thinker. I'm an overthinker, which probably does create stress, whether I know it's stress or not. But it does create thoughts in my head that makes me challenge and pick at things and look at data and think, oh, what's going on? This is more so my business. But I was feeling a little frustrated just literally before doing this podcast. And I wanted to go do this podcast, but I was just, right? So I went and played some video games. I played for 30 minutes. Calmed me down, got me into a state where I was just like, I'm all good, right? And, I was able to reduce the stress because I did a bit of self-care. Like, I gave myself a break. So this is like perfect for me, what I need to hear right now. So I think we all do this. We tend to, we do it in our own ways, self-sabotage, whether we know it or not. I think we do it. So have a think about it yourself. Do you do this, and how do you do it? So how can you increase self-care over the overthinking? Number 9 is procrastination is planning without action. Procrastination equals planning the work plus patience. It's an interesting way of putting it, because this is good. Coming back to goals, like I know a lot of people that set goals or say they want to do things, but they don't do anything that gets them closer to the goal. I used to work with someone, and this is going back years ago, and I said, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Actually, it was when I was hiring them, I think. This is back when I was working the 9 to 5, and they said, I want to own my own business. I want to be a business owner. I said, okay. And I said, great. So what are you doing for that? And he's like, I have no idea. And like, I understand it, because it is a track down the road, but 5 years is not a long time, right? And if you want to be a business owner, like there's things that you can be doing today that enables you to get to the position to be a business owner. And it might even just be study. It might be running a side hustle. It might be having a side business. It might be, and when we say business, let's talk about, we're doing a 6-figure business here. Let's just put that as that's what is a definition of being a business owner. But I mean, obviously there's so many definitions of it, but if you have a side hustle, yeah, you're a business owner, right? Because you have a side hustle. But what I'm trying to say is like, it's the same thing for like me saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna run a marathon this year or something, or I want to run a half marathon, or I want to run a 50K. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So what's your training plan? It's like, oh, I haven't signed up yet, or I don't know when I'm doing it, or it's like, oh, I'm probably just gonna run and see what happens, right? That's procrastination. When we set a goal and then we put a plan in place, systems, processes, that enables us to get to where we want to be. But if you have all these plans, all these ambitions, but you're not doing anything and you're just sitting around expecting something to happen, it's not going to happen. And that is procrastinating. Very good points. Number 10, impatience with actions, patience with results. Impatience with actions, patience with results. So results equals doing the work plus patience. Yeah, okay. So this is kind of like the inverse of what we just said. So basically, you do the work, you know what you got to do. So you're doing the work, but it's going to take time to do it, right? Meaning, yeah, you plant a tree today, you got to do the work in managing it, watering it, fertilizing it, depending what it is. And then you got to wait 20 years before it's going to be the big oak that it will be. That makes complete sense. But the consistency of doing the work with the patience and, holding the line is what is super key here. Yeah, this is good. I love these little short styles, right? And you've seen them up on screen yourself. So let me know what you think. But I mean, this guy, he says his mission is to simplify life, goals, actions, relationships, and thoughts. Just simplifying it, right? And I think, this is the kind of stuff that I like. And I would love to do more of this kind of thing, is bringing you little quick tips and tricks in a sense that's really deep, but really short and sharp, because we can have the conversation. And I think a lot of the time is we can read a lot, we can hear a lot, we can say a lot, we can, watch a lot, but there's just so much information overload. And if we can condense it and bring it down to the core components of what it is we're trying to say, in this case, I think it just helps us understand, and it means we can just cut the fluff and get straight to the point and actually have the conversation about what it is we're talking about. Whether it's confidence, self-love, competence, authenticity, what is happiness, there's some really good meat here, right? So, I mean, look, this is kind of short and sweet episode, but these are the things that I think are so relevant to our day-to-day. For me, especially, furthering your lifestyle. My mission is to further my lifestyle, but also to help you further your lifestyle. And all these things are super, super duper relevant to making that happen, right? So I would encourage you, go back. I'll leave the link in the show notes. Go through this yourself. Challenge yourself. What are you doing that you can be doing differently or better, right? Because, maybe you're not giving yourself enough self-love. Maybe you are overthinking things. Maybe you're procrastinating. Maybe you're curious of why you're not getting the results. And maybe it's because you're not doing any of the work. I don't know. I think this gives some really good perspective, simply just in a box, right? And when we think outside of the box, that's when our lives can change. It's like getting out of your comfort zone as well. All right, really do appreciate you being here. If you do have questions, comments about all this, let's continue the conversation. Reach out, get in contact. I do have SpeakPipe, which is www.speakpipe.com/furtheryourlifestyle. You can drop a message, a voicemail of sorts, and I can integrate it into this podcast. Again, go have a look at this article. I don't know if you need to pay to see it. Hopefully not. Actually, hopefully I haven't done anything that's a bit inappropriate here and stolen anything. So the graphics that I've probably shown aren't probably exactly the same, just to make sure that I'm not copywriting anything. But go check it out for yourself. Go through this. I think it's really, really good, right? And I think we can all learn something from this. Shout out to the guy that's done it. Really good job, mate. I'll put the link in the description below. Again, any comments, chuck them down below. Otherwise, you have a wonderful day. Cheers.